Welcome into episode 97 of JD Empire Sports Talk, along with my man, Jake Biggie Mills. This time he is locked and loaded, not in the gym this time. He got his workout in earlier today. So he will not be lifting, which is unfortunate, and doing the show at the same time. But we need his undivided attention. So if he was lifting and trying to talk about things, I don't know if that would go. I don't know if that would go so well. But Biggie, I know you weren't here last week. So how we doing overall? And then
doing good. Happy to be back.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say it's unfortunate is that football season is over, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And the last game wasn't the greatest, so we'll get to that. But we'll do NFL, of course. We'll start with that like we usually do. We'll do MLB because there's some news already with injuries. I mean, you guys didn't even officially report yet, and there's a ton of injuries that have come in, and like well-known names, not like, any bum players, like good players. And then we got I have a chalk moment, which is probably something that people don't even know I'm going to even bring up, but I'm going to bring it up later on.
Right.
NBA, we had more mixed martial arts and NBA news here with what went down last night. And then hockey, Biggie's going to do a lot of hockey, especially the Olympics, because the Olympics is starting, I believe it's starting tomorrow, but USA doesn't play till Thursday. So we have an extra day in between. But still, Olympics is starting, and it's not just USA. There's obviously other good teams in there.
Yeah.
College basketball top 25. We'll do a how you doing and our pick 'em, which should be pretty easy based off of I didn't realize this until after I said what game we were going to pick. The Lakers have like half their team that's not playing tonight, so that should pretty much convince both of us to sway the other way. But we'll get to that, later on. But let's do it. We'll start with the NFL. So obviously Super Bowl was on Sunday, not the greatest game. Seahawks won 29-13, but there's a lot of things we have to break down here. And the first thing I want to right off the bat, Biggie, what do you think this might have been the most dominant start to finish game from a team in the Super Bowl? Because last year what the Eagles did, they were dominant as well. But the Seahawks, this was pretty damn impressive. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it's interesting from that standpoint, because when you look at it from that standpoint, you think of it a little differently. But it might have been because, it's kind of exactly what happened, except not as many points, obviously. A better defensive game than last year. But yeah, I mean, pretty much, I think the offensive result was pretty similar to, besides the Seahawks and Patriots having great defenses, pretty similar because around the middle to the end of the fourth quarter is when New England started actually kind of getting some points up where those 13 came from. You know what I mean? There wasn't a touchdown score until the fourth quarter either. Seattle had all field goals up to that point. So I don't think it's the most dominant just because of how the Eagles were up 40-6 at one point last year.
Yeah.
I just think it was a defensive battle. Like, it was one of the most defensive Super Bowls we've seen in a long time. The next one I can think of that comes close is the 2019 Super Bowl with the Rams and Patriots, the last one that Tom Brady won in New England
or something like
when
that.
Edelman won the MVP.
Yeah, that game was like 13-3, I believe.
Yep, yeah. One of the most boring Super Bowls ever, and I think this one honestly topped it.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only thing, 29-13, you're like, oh, there was points, but like you just said, 30 points in like the fourth quarter. So that doesn't, that doesn't show what went on before that. So I guess if we had a tweak that, it would be more of like Seattle, just one of the most dominant Super Bowl games as a defense, I would say, because from
Yeah.
start to finish, they were terrific. The sacks, the turnovers, everything.
Yeah.
The Patriots had
Incredible.
no easy plays. Let's put it that way. Just the way the game went. The next thing I would say, every year we always see, the Chiefs and the Patriots for the AFC for literally the last 20 years. Those two teams are always there. And we think about it. I feel like we may disagree on this just because I know the way you feel about NFL, the NFL as a whole. But do you believe the Seahawks can actually replicate this, like next year be in the NFC Championship again? Because for me, before you go, I could see your face.
Go.
I don't think it's out of the realm of that happening just because we've seen dominant time periods of certain teams doing it. But I'll say this year was probably in our lifetimes, our 21 years on this earth, this year was probably the most parity in the league. Like we didn't have a clue who was going to win when we started the playoffs. But I guess we could say we knew Carolina wasn't going to win the Super Bowl. We can all be honest.
Yeah, they're like the only team that you could realistically rule out of anything.
But everyone else, right? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
everyone
I know.
else. So
I agree.
Do you think Seattle can replicate this? Do you think it was more of next year just going to be another team that we're not expecting, and then maybe the Chiefs will come back in a couple of years, like something like that, or the Eagles, maybe something like that?
I think Seattle. I don't think we're going to see that dominant of Seahawks team for another long time. I just don't think it's going to be a one-off thing. I think.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
I think it was just such a toss-up this year, and everything lined up into place perfectly, and they ended up having one of the most dominant offenses I've ever seen. It ended up working out. No one expected that in the beginning of the season. So, yeah, I think, kind of to your point, I think a team that we could see back there, is New England. I think you have a better shot of seeing New England back in that position than Seattle. I think way bigger of a chance, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I think also because the NFC, the Rams or the 40, if the 49ers were fully healthy, they could have been the Super Bowl champion because they probably have
they almost were the 1 seed. They almost were.
Yeah, if they
points off from getting the number 1 seed.
Exactly. If they beat Seattle in that last game of the year, that whole thing flips, and my headphones fell out, so I can't hear anything.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, one of those days. But what I was saying, as I got excited and just ripped the headphones right out of my ears, and I think the piece got stuck in my ear as well. We're off to a hot start, but yeah, I think that in the NFC, you never know. AFC usually seems like that's the case because even right now, if you look at the AFC, I don't know who you think would be back there next year. It kind of seems like it's the Patriots to lose again.
Yeah,
because you don't know what Chiefs team is going to be
honestly,
there.
I just think Buffalo's time is done, and they even didn't win a Super Bowl.
I agree.
I hate to say it, but
the coaching change, I don't think is going to benefit them either. We talked about that. I don't think they've gotten better from getting rid of Sean McDermott, who won 100 games and lost 50. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they got better from that. So that and the Patriots, that's a divisional opponent, so that can go either way. Who else? Yeah. The Chiefs, we don't know what the Chiefs are going to be. A Chargers.
I think Mahomes will have a glory run his last year or two.
I agree. With the Broncos. I agree as well. I think the Chiefs, maybe they'll make the playoffs next year, but I don't see them going deep into the postseason. The Broncos are intriguing.
The postseason until the end of Mahomes' career. To be honest with you, I feel like he's going to have 1 or 2 more throughout his career, but it's going to be late. It's going to be he's going to have we're going to see him win a Super Bowl then retire. You know what I mean? What, maybe 8 years down the line, possibly?
About just because it's hard to have a team that's so good with the quarterback on the high, salary. That's just very hard to do that. But at the end of the career, like you're saying, maybe he'll take less money because he knows this is going to be it for him, and they can build up the rest of the roster. That's why they won so much. I mean, obviously he's great, but in the beginning of his time with the Chiefs, his contract was the rookie contract for the first 5 years because he was a first-round pick. The first 5 years, you can build a great team because you're not paying your quarterback that much. But then when you have to pay him the money, that's what happens. That's the thing I would say with the Patriots. The Patriots have to go to work on, really developing the rest of the roster before they have to pay Drake May. Because right now, nice and easy for them. They're not paying Drake May anything where they can have a team like we saw this year. Would they spend $120 million in free agency? That doesn't happen every year. That's insane, the amount of players they got. So I think I agree with you on that as well. I think the Patriots have the better chance because they have the younger quarterback, which obviously Sam Darnold was great, but he's much older than what.
And it was just finally his shot.
Finally, his 8th year, he finally did it.
He'll be back in Seattle, I think.
He should be.
He should be
for the rest of his career. I think
I think he's going to retire a Seahawk. Yeah,
He should. He should.
he should. I don't know if he will, but he should. I think.
Yeah, because he got 2 years left on the deal, and they should extend him after what he
Oh
did
yeah,
this year.
what
Because
he did this year, right?
you brought
Right.
us into the next point, the reclamation project of Sam Darnold. So we know he was with the Jets for 3 years, went to the Panthers. That was a joke as well. Then went to San Francisco. He learned a lot. He backed up Brock Purdy, so he really got to work on that. Got his chance at Minnesota last year. They weren't convinced. Obviously, that's the case. That's why they didn't bring him back. They weren't convinced he can do it again. So he went out to Seattle. I don't think they even thought he would get them to this point. They thought he was going to be a
No,
nice
no one did. No one thought that
No one
Seattle
did.
would be winning the Super Bowl this year.
No,
No one
no.
said that.
And if they say that, they're lying because that's not
Yeah.
true.
No,
I don't think
not even in the slightest. Everyone had the Ravens, the Eagles, Chiefs,
the
Ravens,
Rams.
Bills, Rams. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not even the Rams. Not even the Rams.
Yeah.
They were talking about Matt Stafford being done.
Yeah, because remember, I
injury?
wish we should go back on our predictions before.
Yeah,
week
we
one.
really should.
I
Next
think
episode.
we have to because I think we had Seattle not even making the playoffs. I think we had them
Yeah, no,
like
I think
7
we
or
had
8
them
wins.
going like seven, like winning
7
seven
and
games,
10,
maybe.
something like that. Yeah, that. Who else? We had the Rams because we didn't know what Stafford was going to do. Like he was hurt.
No.
That's what it was. He had the back
I
injury.
thought he was done. I thought his prime was over.
I remember you were
this
saying
ended.
that.
Yeah,
And then wins MVP. That's the thing with predictions. We never know what's going to happen with
Usually
that.
the NFL is pretty predictable though, so it's just not here.
Except this year. Yeah, this year was crazy. I mean that's what made it fun. I guess we didn't.
I
know
say
what
the
to
NFL
expect.
was actually fun this year. I actually really enjoyed watching the NFL, even though my team disappointed the hell out of me. I enjoyed watching it just because it was different. It was something different. You know what I mean? It was exciting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, over and over every week we saw things happen differently. I know me and my family, we have like 25 of us we pick every game of every week. And I went and looked at last year to this year. And I think first place was 12 to 15 wins off of what first place was last year, which shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Which shows you usually when you're doing picks like that, you usually pick teams that are expected to win because you don't want to take that many chances if you're up at the top of the standings.
Right. Yeah.
Which shows that those teams that expected to win didn't win as much as they did, obviously, last year. And it was like 5th place this year would have been like 12th place last year or something crazy. Like that.
It's nuts. This year was it was fun. Like I just said, I honestly enjoyed watching this year.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. Some other NFL news we have.
Uh-oh.
Guys, I'm good. I don't know what's going on here tonight. But some other NFL news we got. Clint Kubiak is officially head coach of the Vegas Raiders. This was something that was in the works, obviously. They just had to wait for Seattle to win. And me and Corey talked about this last week, but I want to get your thoughts on this because your favorite, obviously, one of your favorite quarterbacks is going to be on the Raiders. So you think that I personally think this is a match made in heaven with Kubiak
I agree.
and Mendoza
100%.
together. Go ahead. I was going to say, take it away.
There's no debate that this is perfect. The Raiders are doing everything right now. You know what I mean? And honestly, I've heard this. This might be a little bit of a hot take, but do you think they hired Pete Carroll with the intention of tanking?
That's tough. I mean, I see the angle.
Do you think that was a hire just so they can get the first overall pick?
I feel like they would have did someone else. I don't know. I feel I understand what you're saying, but I feel the caliber, not obviously Pete Carroll's old. His good years of coaching is behind him. But the name, I feel like the name they were expecting to actually do a little something on what they did. If they had some Joe Schmo, I don't know, whoever you can think of in there as the coach, I would have like the Texans did a few years ago.
Doing basically,
yeah, like
now.
Miami's doing with Jeff Hafley.
They're going to be doing.
Yeah, but I understand what you're saying though. But halfway through the year though, you obviously saw that they were not interested.
I was going to say if that wasn't the intention, at least after the midpoint of the year, it was because there is no way you can be that bad. No. You know what I mean? It's just impossible.
Especially the last 3 games. I mean, they had half the roster from opening day just out. They're like, yeah, he's out. He's out.
It's
Max
like
Crosby wasn't even hurt.
We're just going to tank now. It's not working. We're going to tank.
Yeah, that's definitely
a hire for their situation. They're doing everything right now. They're in a good spot in the draft, obviously. The head coach that you just hired is going to be very, very good to develop Mendoza, I feel like. And now I had this conversation today with our fellow friend JBC at the gym today, right? And
David Race, how we doing? EJ, I'm not sure what. I think someone hacked EJ's account because he's not the same guy that comments usually. Something's going on with him.
Yeah,
Hope he's
some experience he had, maybe
yeah,
maybe he's traumatized. But
yeah. I don't know
anyway,
exactly what this means. I also had no idea what was going on tonight. I don't know. No,
yeah.
David's doing. David didn't say hey with the waving emoji, so he's good for now. I'm waiting for that to
But
come in.
anyway, so I had this conversation today, and what was it? Oh my god. So do you think that the Raiders are gonna go out and get a veteran, or are they gonna try and have Geno Smith be the guy that kind of develops Mendoza? Because he said possibly get someone like Joe Flacco and bring him in and develop Mendoza, like someone of that type. I mean, not him specifically, but someone like that. Kirk Cousins is out there. You never know, right? I'm just putting names out there, like that caliber type of player that could start, but is going to be more of a developmental piece. So you don't throw Mendoza right into the fire.
Yeah, I
What do
think
you
that
think?
they might be stuck with Geno Smith, honestly, because the
Yeah,
contract
that's
is
what I thought
bad.
too.
The
Yeah,
contract is really bad. And the thing is, though, I don't know if he's the type of guy you want to help like be there for
yeah,
Mendoza. I
that's the
don't
thing. I don't know how good it would be, but I
they might
think
have no choice.
they might have no choice. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I feel like they might have no choice, and it wouldn't be the worst. It could be a lot worse, I
They
think.
couldn't trust me, I
But
know.
yeah, right. Yeah, you know more than
I
anyone.
know.
It could be a lot worse.
They can
But
have
like,
Justin Fields if they want. They can do that.
yeah. I mean, he's been proven that he's not a starting quarterback, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah. The Patriots sucked. Yes, they did. And I
Yeah,
enjoyed it, David. They
it was
sucked.
yes.
Yep.
Rooting
They
for
sucked.
Darnold.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. I know an offensive lineman that's been really good for a long time. Rob Havenstein is
Yeah.
retired after 11 years. He was on the Super Bowl team with the Rams, I believe, when they won against the Bengals. That was what 5-6 years ago
Yes,
at this point. I
2021.
believe he was there.
Yeah.
Whitworth was there as well. So Rams have some holes they have to shore up, but they have draft picks now. They actually do have guys they can actually use the draft picks because they didn't
Yeah,
trade
which is
all of
good.
them away.
You know what I mean?
And like their defense is young and their offense is kind of on the veteran side. So if they can bring in some young guys to replace, because in a few years from now, we all know Stafford's going to be gone, Devontae Adams is going to be gone.
Yep.
Puka Nacua always talks about retiring. I don't know if he's if he's lying or not, but
How old is he?
he's not even 30, but he always talks about it like doesn't really want to play that much longer.
Yeah.
Which we've seen those things happen before.
I think he wants a ring. I think he wants a
Calvin
ring.
Johnson. Some things happen, some things like that can happen. So you never know. You never know. And if a guy talks about it that much, then you kind of you gotta think about that. And then
Yeah.
the last thing, Patriots will keep Will Campbell at left tackle. He had a rough game to say the least. Let's put it
Yeah. I
that
mean,
way. I
what
remember
were they gonna demote him?
I think they were maybe considering moving him to right tackle, so he a little bit less pressure on him. But I don't know. I
It's
feel like
still a tackle spot, though. I feel like
exactly.
if
You
you're
would know
gonna
more
move
than that than me.
someone, if you're gonna move someone based off their performance, how bad they played, and we're gonna do a little breakdown here. So Will Campbell obviously played one of the worst games of his football career, probably, and you got to feel for the guy because he's a rookie going against a top 5 edge rush team in the league. Um, you know, but there were some issues there that looked like, and I'm not one to talk, but because this was my problem when I played, and I kind of saw it a little bit on Sunday. Speed. So in the NFL, you kind of have to be quick on the offensive line. You have to be because you're going against, edge rushers now are not these big dudes like these big D tackles. They're like built like receivers. Like they're built like linebackers now. Edge rushers are. The edge rushers are not, defensive linemen anymore. I don't even think of them like defensive linemen anymore, realistically, because they're more skill guy like than trench guy. But Will Campbell, they spotted his weakness, which was not being able to counter the bull rush. So every time that I forget who it was that was on him, whoever it was,
Everyone,
anyone,
they were
just kept
taking
bull
turns.
rushing them.
Biggie, they were taking turns.
Kept bull rushing them, and Campbell would when you get bull rush as an offensive lineman, you want to drop and like counter it. And you want to like keep your back curved, but you also don't want to go too low and put your head down because then you get thrown down. Campbell was putting his head down, and all you have to do in that situation as defensive lineman, snap the arms down, and that's what they were doing. They were getting by him every time. They're breaking off. They're breaking off his block like so easily. And then there were a few times where he just got straight up bull rushed. In one play, he got straight up just bull rush. He got thrown into Drake May basically. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that, and then it got to a point where they're like, all right, well, we're in his head now. Let's start rushing. Let's put our DN in a 9 and start just rushing off the edge. Campbell can't catch him, and then they started doing that. And like I said, like I mentioned earlier, and I didn't even get to the point. I'm all over the place, but
And
talking
that's
about
what we do here.
speed. You have a guy in a 9, and you might not be the fastest. It's going to be hard to get to him. They're just going to go right around you. But that was that happened later in the game once they caught on to how he was playing. But at the beginning and for a little more percentage of the time, it was a bull and pull, as I like to call. Bull rush,
Right.
let the guy get out of position. Like I said, you have to lower yourself and you have to keep your back curved. Like you want to keep your head up too, because if you have your head down, which Will Campbell was doing, you're just going to get, they're going to throw your hands down and get right around you or throw you to the ground. So that's what I saw out of that as someone who played the high almighty Division III football, and was the third string left tackle on a JV team as a sophomore. That's my analysis of that.
That was perfect because you broke it down exactly, and
That's
obviously
what I was saying.
to me from from the outside perspective, I think that the Seahawks obviously had a plan on that. They've seen like obviously he played all year, so it wasn't new.
And then another thing too is he also was battling an injury earlier in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was hurt his knee, right? I believe his knee.
Some of his knee, yeah. So that obviously takes a lot out of your kick step too. If your knee's bothering you,
that'll kill you.
Especially like I said, if you have a guy out in a 9, like a guy out wide that's just going to rush around you, if your knee's like shot on you, and if it's his left knee, especially because he's at left tackle, when you kick back, that's not going to feel good, man. It slows you down.
No, I was going to say I've had some minor knee things myself.
As a pitcher.
If you're not bending down, obviously the same thing for you, an offensive lineman. You can't get any power going there, and then you're.
Well, yeah,
you're
I would say I experienced that my freshman year of college, my first year of college football. I tore some fibers in my left knee. I have tendonitis in my left knee from football and from squatting when I played. I don't back squat anymore for that reason because my knees are so shot.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I don't play anymore. I don't have to. I do leg press.
No, yeah, I totally feel you. I'm the same way with some workouts I can't do either, which is funny. And then like to me, I know maybe it not have been a part of the scheme for the Patriots, but at some point, like put a tight end out there and help the guy. Like,
yeah, I was gonna say they should have switched to some packages where they had tight ends out on.
They have tight ends. They have 3. Like
go with a 6-man front. You know what I mean? Help Campbell out, or try and get your backs involved a little bit more too, because another aspect you can have in there is your running back or fullback as an extra blocker and a different protection.
Right.
Where if someone gets beat off the edge, the back opposite of that, it should go pick that up. Like that's his role. That's a back's role in certain pass plays. You know what I mean? If he doesn't have a route, he has to help out the guys in front of him. You know what I mean? So I don't know where that was all night either.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. At some point, like
they didn't change the front at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they were just like, you know what? He's just gonna have to eat it at this point. Which in the Super Bowl, that's not what you get
thrown in the fire as a left tackle. When you're getting beat by speed off the edge, it sucks. Like you get such a mental strain that you just can't overcome it. It's terrible.
And the game was that bad for him that it had to be brought up if he was going to play left tackle next year. Which the season is 7 months from now, and that had to be brought up.
Move him, it'd be interior because there's obviously a weakness in protecting like an outside rush, so they put him interior at a guard spot, and you take that aspect out of it.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen with Becton. He was a tackle for the Jets.
Right, yeah. Say Mekhi Becton is the perfect example of that. Moving a guy interior because he struggles, with, not necessarily speed, but, struggles with protecting a 9, like an edge rusher and a 9 that's just gonna, they're already so far out, and if you're not quick enough to go get them, you're gonna get beat every time. So a lot of guys like Mekhi Becton, who aren't terribly quick, they're better interior because they're all strength and size. So, and they're not on this island the whole time. You know what I mean? That happened. I keep referring back to myself. That happened to me in college. I came in as like, I was a tackle in high school, and then I played guard and center my first year. And then they moved me to tackle, which basically showed that my time was up. Coach Beaver, if you're watching this, I know what you were doing there. I'm kidding.
Let's clip it. Let's clip it and send it in. He's
still someone I very close with still. So
that's funny. David Race is going off in the comments as we speak about the Patriots. Patriots suck. I don't like the Patriots anymore. All right, we know how you feel. That's wow. I was like, as you were talking, I looked down. I'm like, damn, he's letting it eat. Which I mean, good for us. We get to clown on the Patriots because they lost, but if they won, we would have heard it. Trust me, especially with the picks we provided. If anyone saw our Instagram post, we had
Yes. Yes.
Patriot. We had Seahawks. Everyone associated with our show had Seahawks, which is it doesn't always happen. Sometimes when everyone picks that one team, the other team wins, but we didn't have to deal with that, which is a good thing. But that's good enough for NFL. This episode obviously is not going to be as long just because we don't have as much to talk about. Because usually NFL,
When I went in full Coach Biggie mode, it extends it a little bit.
it's okay. Listen, that's
If I
I
wasn't in the
wanted to
media,
hear.
man, I'd be a coach.
I wanted that you would be, man. You would. I could tell, like you were knowledgeable about it, and that's something we needed here because I was questioning it myself. Like I know football, obviously, but not to. I never played, so it's obviously a different level of understanding, like the
Yeah.
X's and O's part of it, which was perfect. That's why I liked how you brought that up because I had questions. I'm like, I don't understand this. Like, why are they not helping this guy out? Like, do something different because he's just getting beat every single play. Like the
Sometimes
replays
you
was
really
just
can't though, because if you're running plays like the Patriots run, we're going along on this topic. I'm sorry,
no.
but
You're good,
you're
man.
asking, so I'm going to help you. But like, there's times where like you want to let Drake May do his thing, but if you're not going to be able to keep him protected, you kind of have to go to a 6 front and maybe start running the ball a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure if they ran the ball a little bit more, Campbell would have had a better night because it would have been easier for him to just not have to kick step and like hold on to a block that long because that was obviously a problem. And you also could get a 6-man front up there. You can get a tight end on the edge, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like when you're running pass, you're not putting a tight end as an extra blocker. When you run a pass
No.
play, your tight end's running a route. That's why you're running the pass play. You're running routes. You know what I mean? So that's the issue. They were passing the ball quite a bit, and they wanted to get Drake May to do his thing. But with that, they, opened the liability of their offensive line. And I keep bringing his name. I feel bad, but it's the topic of discussion. Will Campbell, you open up his liabilities. He was already having a bad night, and the Seahawks kept honing in on his weaknesses. But, that's just, I feel like they should have at least tried to maybe run the ball a little bit more, get a 6-man front, get a tight end blocking as well, and then open up the run game a little bit. That might have helped them a little bit because Drake May himself hasn't been that great through the playoffs.
No,
We
he
talked
wasn't.
about this, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this. And, I thought maybe they resort to the run a little bit more, but I think they put too much, and I hate to say this because he's fantastic and he's got a long, great career ahead of him. They put too much trust in just Drake May. I feel like they put way too much trust in just him, and it opened up other liabilities like, not enough protection for him and, sacrificing all these turnovers and sacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've seen it, and also, they were losing, so it kind of had to change some
Yeah.
things up because they were
Right.
trying to catch up the entire time. But yeah, that shows how much they love Drake May to put all that trust in him. But it's very difficult for a guy, playing in his first playoff run who wasn't great. The 3 game wasn't really good either. The 3 games before the Super Bowl, so
No.
it's a little difficult to do that. But it at least for them, they got there. They have some, a bright future. They know maybe what they need to work on to get back there, and they probably have a good chance of doing it, in the future, in the
Oh,
coming years as
absolutely.
well.
They're a team that's going to they're going to win a Super Bowl or two. Mike Vrabel's going to have a Super Bowl or
He'll
two as a
get
coach.
one. Yeah, yeah, he'll definitely get one. He's a really good coach. He'll figure it out along the way. Well, let's go to the MLB where we have Francisco Lindor, who will miss 6 weeks with the hand injury and will possibly need surgery. So that's something they have to discuss this week uh, if he's going to have to get surgery or not. And I was very confused by this. I didn't see it right away because I had some other things going on today, and I
Yeah.
was okay. So he second day at the facility and you're hurt. That means an injury like that was going on probably weeks before you showed up. Why is this coming up now? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I
Like
was going to say, you being a baseball guy, does that mean that
that.
he just failed to get it looked at, and then all of a sudden he just decided to, or did that just happen?
I
You know what I
think
mean?
it was
Like,
something he was dealing with because a hand injury like that is not going to just come up in 2 days. Like you know what I'm saying? Like if you're
yeah,
swinging a bat, and you're going to feel something, it doesn't feel right. And he definitely did because there's no way that comes up in 2 days. So I think it was more of he just thought it was a minor thing. It's okay, it'll go away. And then maybe the train because all these guys when they show up, no matter when it is, because it's not official, dates yet, but he's just there early. And maybe they were like, we're going to do a physical on you, and that's what came up. But I feel like something like that, you got to be honest. The season, I can
yeah.
understand. I've been injured during the season before, like last year, and during the year, I don't want to say anything. Why would I want to say it now? Like I'm just gonna go until we can't anymore, which obviously happened to me, and it was a stupid decision. But if it's before the year, and you're feeling a little something, that's when you say, okay, I'm feeling something. Something
Right.
doesn't
Okay.
feel right here.
Yeah, I just wasn't
That's
sure
that.
that was like something different, like
No, yeah,
baseball.
no. I
Baseball
feel
X's and O's. Like I gave my X's and O's on offensive line. I wanted to hear yours about baseball.
Yeah, I was just confused. I was like, okay, why is this coming up now when you've been, because he didn't, and it's, I know, I got a few messages about this. I'm like, I don't know if they're just like trying to rage bait me, or it's just like they're really being like, if they don't know, but like,
Right.
so
Yeah.
this is the first time he swung a bat since October. I mean, I hope not. I hope he
Right.
hasn't swung.
That
I
makes you
hope,
think that too.
yeah.
Did he not do anything until until he had to report to spring
He's
training?
had to. That's the thing. Like he's had to. Like they gotta now. My dad always tells me this. Back in when he was younger, those guys would show up to spring training to get ready. Now it's be ready for spring training. So when you
Yeah,
get to
because they
spring
start so
training,
early.
that's what it is. Yeah, and that means he's been working out, because also he was supposed to play in the WBC, which now he's not able to. Even before this, it wasn't just this;
Right.
it
Yeah.
was before, because there's something that's going on with certain countries that don't have the medical insurance that covers them or whatever. Oh, light went out.
Let's say yeah.
Medical insurance that's not covering these players. So Lindor couldn't play in the WBC anyway.
Yeah.
But up until last week, he was training like he was supposed to play in it. So obviously he's been doing the work. I mean, I'm not mad at the guy, but like I just don't know why this wouldn't be something that was taken care of perhaps a month ago. And it's an injury that's frequent. It happens with baseball players, just the way it is. But it's a bone that you don't need. So they take it out, they're going to remove it, and he's never going to need that. The rest of his life in that hand. So hopefully he doesn't need surgery. But if he does, he'll be out the 6 weeks. Probably regardless. I think that's just the way that the timetable is going to be. So he probably
Yeah.
won't play opening day, which is unfortunate. But hopefully he can actually figure it out when he comes back, because he's always guy, known for slow starts. And now having this, not seeing live at bats for 6 weeks and then kind of jumping into it, because he's not going to take that much time out. Because
Yeah.
he means so much to the team. Like he's our leadoff hitter, our shortstop. You can't just pick one from the the backfields and be like, yeah, our 19-year-old prospect is going to be able to do it. It's just not the way that works with a
Right.
player
Yeah.
like Lindor. Like he's a representative of the franchise. Sometimes I get pissed at him just the way he plays in the beginning of season and stuff like that. But yeah, they need him, so he needs to figure it out. Some other news we got: Justin Verlander back in Detroit, joining a loaded rotation. I mean, they got Valdez last week. They have Skubal. Skubal will be gone. We all know that, either at the trade deadline or next year. But still, man, Biggie, I don't know if you realize this, but he literally pitched in the Tigers World Series in like 2000 and like early tens or something like
Oh,
that.
I
Like,
know. Yeah.
yeah, that's
I
insane.
saw that. I'm like, that's awesome. I love that.
This is probably it, though. I would assume this is going to be his last, go
Yeah,
round.
probably. Definitely. I think he wants to do this. In fact, he wants to retire a Tiger as well. I feel like too.
Yeah.
Because like I told you, I saw a Tigers game. That was the last MLB stadium I visited, and I kind of followed them a little bit this past year just because I
Comerica
enjoyed
Park,
my
right?
time there so much. Yeah, I enjoyed my time at Comerica, and I thought that was awesome when I saw that, and it's a good time to join back with the Tigers. I think good time,
Yeah.
really good time to be on the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, and he'll be like, the fourth or fifth guy, or even
Yeah, but
perhaps
he's there,
guy.
and he's
But that's
a
good.
legend to that franchise.
And he still can actually pitch too. Like he's
Right,
not obviously
right.
what he used to be. Of course, he's not what he used to be, but he still can do something for them. And I think that's perfect. If there's a guy, plays a ton of years in the beginning of his career and has the ability to go back and finish the career there, because we all know he's going in the Hall of Fame as a Detroit Tiger, but now he gets to finish it and maybe, you never know, make a deep postseason run with this team, because they have
And you
a
know
good
what?
squad.
Yeah, like I said, it's a good time to be a Detroit Tiger.
It
You know what I
is.
mean? This is a time where they could. This is a good chance for them to
No,
do so.
yeah, no,
It'd be nice if they did. That's a team I'd really like to see win the World Series. It really, really would.
Yeah, they have, they had some rough years recently, but they really turned it around with the playoff appearances.
Yeah.
Losing Skubal when that's going to be unfortunate for them. They just can't pay him, the money that he
Right.
deserves.
That's the problem with franchises like that. They don't have the money to pay these big guys.
But the thing is, maybe they'll be able to develop another guy that they can just
Hopefully, right.
That's what that's why how the Brewers are so good. They just develop really good young players. Then when they're time to trade them, and they develop another round of players. So that's something that the Tigers have been doing. So it's not like out of the ordinary. Then we have Anthony Santander out 5 to 6 months for the Blue Jays. So a 6-month injury now pretty much leaves you out till what, August at this point? It's February, August. So when he comes back, he may not even have a spot in that lineup. You never know what the Blue Jays are
Probably
going to
won't, to
be.
be honest
Yeah,
with you.
you're out that long, and then you need a rehab and stuff like that. That's going to be very hard to recover from that. Spencer Schwellenbuck is starting the season on the IL for the Braves. So, like I said, there's been some injuries here already. Schwellenbuck has been really good for Atlanta since he came up. Not a guy that was a highly touted, youngster. So that's kind of something that came about really quickly for him when the Braves needed some starting pitching. He came up and dominated from start to finish. And then, yes, they did. They got Valdez, EJ.
Yeah.
Framber Valdez. Very good pitcher, but the clubhouse side of him is a little suspect. I don't know if you
That's
remember.
why it took so long for them to sign him, for teams
Yep.
to go actually
Teams were
pursue him.
not
That's
interested because of that.
right.
I don't know if
That's
you
the exact
remember
reason.
during the year, something happened with the catcher, and the catcher called, fastball, and no, he called called curveball, and he threw a fastball. Which if you're doing that as a pitcher, you're going to get your catcher hurt, or could get him hurt. Let's say that
Right.
if something goes wrong
That's
there.
your etiquette right there, right, JD?
Yeah, you can never do that. By mistake, I've done it before by mistake. I saw the wrong sign, I did it. But to do that on purpose, which obviously is what Valdez did, not a good look. And that's why he was a free agent, like you just said, until last week, because teams don't go for that. Sometimes we see this in football, we see it in every sport. There's guys that don't have the best attitudes, but clubhouses that are good before they get there believe they can make him buy into what they're doing. And I believe that's
Right.
what the Tigers are doing. They believe that, yeah, he may not be the best guy off the field, and in the locker room, but when it comes time to us coming together as a team, we can get him to buy in, which is
Yeah.
probably what they're thinking, because obviously all 26 guys are not going to like each other, just the way it is.
Yeah.
But they got to make it work when they're on the field, and you cannot be doing that to a catcher. That's like
Exactly.
beyond
Yeah.
messed up. That's like one of the lowest things you can do as a teammate, which I don't know why he would do that, but he signed, he got a nice contract. It is what it is with him. Then Marcelo Zuna. So if EJ's still watching, a good move for them. I've actually really liked the Pirates offseason. They got a few other bats along the way. I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I know one of them is a Lowe, right? Brandon Lowe or Lau, one of them. They got him. They got a few other pieces. Listen, if they can score a few runs, their pitching staff is pretty damn good, where they're going to be able to win games.
Well, that's the thing. They just haven't had anything in the hitting game or
No, it's
the
bad. One of the worst
nothing.
offenses ever.
They've literally had one of the worst offenses, and honestly, one of the worst defenses. Just the pitching's been outstanding for them. They don't have a lineup. They had no lineup, just pitching.
Yeah, that's at least they're actually, at least they've actually taken the time out to sign some players, which they haven't done in recent years. And EJ, I would watch out for, but I'm hearing a Pirates and Mets trade in the near future. So them bringing in one of the Mets young bats that don't really have any space in the lineup, but can actually be, Mark Vientos or Brett Beatty. If they go to Pittsburgh, they're probably going to be good players. Beatty's already shown flashes. Vientos has as well. Yeah, but yeah, if they have some hitters there, pitching is really good, and I think it's only going to get better because those guys are really young. Wouldn't be shocked if they win closer to 75 to 80 games this year, which is an accomplishment for them. Obviously,
yeah, I was going to say it's a big step from last year.
But for them, that's pretty good. And if they can build it, that's another thing, because Skeens, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, Bubba Chandler, who's going to be a guy that's coming up for them soon, he could be traded, but I think they're going to keep him. Like, that's a pretty good rotation, especially when you have Skeens. We saw what Jared Jones was before he got hurt. Mitch Keller, terrific number 3. If you have him as your number 3, that means something is going right. So that's a good thing for Pittsburgh. Like, I don't think they're going to be as bad as maybe they have been the past few years. And then Caleb Durbin traded from the Brewers to the Red Sox. I know I don't think Ego has been in the chat tonight, but he would be happy about this one.
Yes.
Durbin is exactly what the Red Sox needed after losing Bregman. They didn't have the third baseman on the roster, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Good pickup for them. And Boston, that obviously this AL East, very tough division every single year. But Boston, I think they can make some noise this year. I thought they were this year.
Yeah, they actually look like they're going to be a little bit better than they were last year. They look. I think
so.
They've invested a little bit. It seems like
they have, and they got young guys that didn't get much time last year that should get time. So that's another thing we'll have to keep an eye on, like a Christian Campbell. He got time, but was never playing his position. So, that's a bit of a head game when you're playing a different position every night. You're not comfortable. That can mess with you in other, parts of the game. But yeah, they could. You never know. It depends. I think the National League as a whole is wide open under the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers, and then everybody else, but I wouldn't even
Yeah,
know
it's
how to
everyone else
rank them.
versus the Dodgers. Pretty
That's what
much.
it is. That's what it is. Like if they don't win the World Series, then shame on them because that team is so good. But the rest of the National League, I know we're going to do more baseball as we get closer. But in terms of National League, I don't really know who's number 2 right now. NL East, you got the Phillies, you got the Mets, you have the Braves. I think the Braves are going to bounce back.
I think
Marlins
so.
and Nationals aren't anywhere
No.
close. Cubs and Brewers are going to be good. I think the Reds are going to be okay. I think they have a chance at the postseason more than the Pirates do because the Reds, they made it last year. That's something to keep in mind. And then the Dodgers, obviously, I've talked about them. Padres are always there. They're always a good team. I like what the San Francisco Giants did this offseason. Let me tell you that. I don't know if you knew this, Biggie, but they have a head coach who was a head coach in college. Now they have a manager. That's their manager, a head coach from college, which we've never
Really?
seen that. We've never seen that before. So that's going to be something to watch.
That's something new. Yeah.
Yeah, head coach of Tennessee and now manager of the San Francisco Giants. So I don't know how he's going to be able to adjust to that because it's less obviously of like dealing with maybe guys that aren't really grown men just yet, and now you're dealing with guys that are have money
Thrown
have to
in,
get
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little different. So that'll be
Just say we
something.
never really seen that before, so.
No, we haven't. I don't think that's ever actually happened before. Like from a direct movement from college right to position as a manager in the MLB. And then my chalked moment. So chalked moment is going to be the lack of I don't know. I don't know if it's just bias from me, but I feel like that I know it doesn't have as much revenue as college basketball and college football does, but I just feel like college baseball should get more recognition than it does. Obviously, like Division One, high end Division One should. The SEC baseball is you can compare that to minor league baseball any day of the week, from what I've watched,
Easily, yeah.
and it just doesn't get enough, I think, recognition as it should. Especially, the College World Series is in June. I don't think anyone realizes how much you have to do to get to June, and people just worry. People just worry about the college, the best 8 teams when there could be teams that are really good that just something didn't go their way that particular day, and they're probably better than one of the 8 teams that are there. It just didn't. It didn't break that way for them. So that's just my chalk moment. I just feel like the lack of coverage for college baseball, needs
That
to
inspired
improve.
me to have one as well,
All
coming
right.
up in 2 segments. Yeah, 2 segments.
All right. I was gonna say you can hold on to it.
I will, yes.
Let's hold on to that. Then we got the NBA where I don't know if you saw this last night, but it was insane to actually
I did.
watch this video.
My
Pistons
God.
versus what was that?
I saw it, yeah,
Yeah, that
absolutely.
was insane. Pistons versus Hornets brawl. 4 players were ejected. Suspension should be coming. Jalen Duran, Isaiah Stewart, which is no shocker. Musa Diabate and Miles Bridges. So 3 notable names there. Diabate is more on the lesser side of being known, but Jalen Duran and Isaiah Stewart are 2 of the premier players of Detroit, and Bridges is obviously a good player for the Hornets. And it was just the fact that the fight didn't stop. It was just like
Yeah.
they thought they broke it up 3 or 4 times, and it just happened. And Isaiah Stewart, I believe, ran off the bench, which that's immediate ejection. You can't.
Yeah, and I
Run
don't
off the
know if you
bench.
saw either, there was 2 angles of it because there was 2 separate brawls.
Yeah,
There was the one
yeah,
brawl, they ended it, and then, someone called someone out, and then another one started.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like they thought they stopped it, and just whole nother thing started up. Which
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you, I kind of liked it because the NBA to me has been a little soft the last few years. I kind of
Say
like
it's been
this.
soft for the last, 15 years?
Probably
Realistically?
longer.
Yeah,
Probably
probably
longer.
longer than that since at least since, like, the early 2000s when the Pistons were,
Yeah.
beating people up and, making those type of plays. Seemed like after that Pistons team, it went, like, downhill.
Downhill a little bit. Yeah,
Or what
I
was their
agree.
nickname? They had a nickname, didn't they?
I think it was just was it the Bad Boys or something like that? I think it might have been that the Bad Boys or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were one of those teams, and this Detroit team is actually trying to model what those guys did. And I'm gonna be honest, like I've watched them play the Knicks last year and this year. They play very physical, which I can understand how that can get under your skin, and that's why the Hornets, a fight's gonna break out when a team's constantly in your face trying to do everything they can. But that's Detroit's game. When I was watching them play the Knicks the other night, they made the Knicks look very uncomfortable, the entire game. And I think there was a stat they read or something like that. It was the fact that they have the most fouls committed in the league, and they have like the second best record, which you don't always see that. Usually when, football, most turnovers in the league usually means you're not a good team, all things like that. And in baseball, maybe most strikeouts as a lineup usually means you're not a good team. But the
Yeah.
fact they have the most fouls in the NBA and they're that good of a team just shows they play with physicality. They know what they're doing, and they know when to just, you know what, we'll stop, we'll lock in, but we're gonna get under their skin until we can't anymore. And obviously, something like that being ejected is gonna, you know, hurt that a little bit. And then let's move on to other NBA news we got here. Just the All Star game is on Sunday, and I don't think anyone cares about it. At
No,
All
it's
Star weekend,
again, it's like the Pro Bowl. It's just last thing.
you know, I don't know what they can do to spice it up. They think this year by changing, you know, putting the international guys on a team, putting like the best American guys on the team, and having another team, they think that's gonna like change anything. I don't think so. I think it's just, you know, it's just stupid. I don't really understand what they're doing here. It's just the same theme for the other sports, like you just said. It's just over and over. No one cares about it. It is what it is.
Except we'll get to it later. Except one.
Yeah. Then we got LeBron, who's not eligible for awards. So, you know, now the NBA established a new rule where if you miss, I believe it's 21 or 22 games, you can't win any like Defensive Player of the Year,
Oh,
All
really?
NBA.
Wow.
You can't
I
win
didn't even
any of
know that.
those MVP, any of those things. Yeah, and that was a new rule they came up with, I think, last year or so. So he missed a lot in the beginning, and now he can't. He would have had to play every game the rest of the year, and I don't think he's
Right.
going to do
Yeah.
that anyway. So yeah, he's not eligible for team awards. And then let's do our standings update here. So we got 3 more days before the All-Star break. So next week is going to be by the time we have our show again, there won't be any games, regular season games played. So this is a little bit of extended break
Yep.
for them. But I'll kick us off with the Western Conference here. Got it pulled up on my phone because my iPad is not working too good tonight. But number 1 seed, Oklahoma City, 41-13. So they're 5-5 in their last 10. They have not been playing, you know, as good as they were in the beginning, like when they were like 27-2. But obviously, when you start out that great, you have room for error. Spurs are 36-16. They're 4 games from the Thunder, and they're playing them pretty well every time. They beat them 3 times or 4 times already this year. So the Spurs play them in the postseason. The Thunder got to be, you know, on their A+ game to beat them, it seems like. Then the number 3 seed, Denver Nuggets at 34-20. They're 3 games from the Spurs. They're pretty good as well. I watched them play the Knicks last week. That was a double overtime game sometime last week. I don't remember exactly. But Denver getting healthy, which is big. Jokic is fully back. Jamal Murray's fully back. Aaron Gordon's not back yet, but he should be back soon. So they got their full complement of guys. And when they're all there, they can beat anybody. We've seen that. Houston Rockets as your number 4 seed. That's my NBA champion. So they gotta play a little bit better. But they've been good. They've been good this year. No complaints. I just thought they would do a little more at the deadline, and they didn't. Then 5 seed LA Lakers. I actually think they're going to be a first round exit. To be honest with you, I don't see them doing much.
Yeah, they're. I just don't think that's there anymore. You have the talent, but I just don't think the team's just there. You know what I mean?
No, it's just like, yeah, you have
They're
Luka, you
so
have
overrated,
LeBron.
man.
Yeah, it's just like watching them. The supporting cast just isn't enough. I think the supporting guys around him, especially Luka, he needs shooters. It doesn't seem like the shooters are all there. Then we got the Timberwolves at 33-22. So they're right there. They're probably going to hop the Lakers at some point, I think. Then the Phoenix Suns 31-22. So they're right there as well. Suns, Corey's a Suns fan. He was talking about how, you know, they've been a pleasant surprise. And that's true because they got rid of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal because they thought they weren't going to be too great. And this is going to be kind of like a rebuild year. And it's far from that. They've been really good. And they can give any of the teams, I think, in the postseason. They may not win, but they can give anyone like a run for their money just because they play hard. They're gritty, really gritty team. Then the Warriors, 29-25, but they're all banged up. Curry's hurt. I know Jimmy Butler's out for the year. He just got a surgery. So they're going to make it probably, but they're not going to really go anywhere, you know, in the postseason. I don't expect them to. Then we got the Portland Trailblazers as the 9 seed, 26-28. They're okay. I don't know what they're really going to do either. Then the LA Clippers, who traded James Harden and Ivica Zubac away. So 2 of their top players, but they're probably going to be in the play-in anyway because they're 25-27. And then you got the Grizzlies, who are the next team closest to them, 5 games out. 20-32, and they suck. They're 2-8 now. Let's put it that way. They are not a good basketball team.
Right, yeah.
Then the Mavericks are even worse than them, 19-33. And then the last 3 teams, Jazz 17-37, Pelicans 15-40, and the Kings are 12-43. Those 3 teams, you know, they're at a level. They're a level down even from the Mavericks and the Grizzlies. So
Yeah.
the Clippers doesn't seem like they're interested in winning that much the rest of the year. But it doesn't seem like they have a choice because these teams don't look like they're going to really catch them. But yeah,
No.
that's the standings in the West. But what do we got going on in the East? Because the East is changing literally every single week we do this.
It is. Yeah. So the only thing that hasn't changed is our top 3, basically.
That's been the same. Yeah.
That's been the same. The Detroit Pistons still on top, having a stellar year. A little brawl action last night, 39-13 overall. They're playing well. And then the Knicks, they picked it up. They're in a little bit of the skid, but I think it's just because of how much they were playing, how many games they were playing back to back to back. They kind of got it back now, and they're looking good. I think I like them now. Like they're looking good right now. And the Boston Celtics again still exceeding expectations. They're them and the Knicks are just a head-to-head matchup apart, basically. Like that's it. They're the same record, all that.
Yeah, Nick just beat them 3 times. That's the time.
Right. Yeah, that's the only reason there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And then the Cavs are finally playing some good basketball.
They are.
About freaking time. You get a guy like James Harden, you start playing good? Okay, cool. Yeah. Good for them. It's about time. Beat the Nuggets.
Big win last night.
Let's say big win last night.
That was a big game.
Destroyed the Clippers, beat the Kings, beat the
Trailblazers. With Harden.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they're 9-1 in their last 10, so they've been good.
They've been really good.
They've been really, really good.
Which is expected. Like you were saying that
they should be. That's how they should have been all year. Right. Yeah. I kind of like that better though, just because last year they were good the whole year, and then the playoffs came around, nothing happened.
Maybe
they needed to taste a little bit of failure to maybe they win it again. Who knows? I'd love to see it. That'd be awesome, right? And then the Raptors again having a decent year, 32-22, playing well. The Sixers, they're interesting because they're good at times and they're not
inconsistent.
They're inconsistent. 6-4 in their last 10 though, but they're way better than they were last year.
But definitely,
yeah, definitely. And then the Orlando Magic at 7-28-24. A team that has a winning record right now. All right, cool. Good for the Orlando Magic. Good for them.
I mean, last year too, they were in the playoffs, and I didn't want to jump in there, but Orlando is a team that kind of similar to Detroit to me in the sense of like Detroit last year. Detroit was at the end of the they were the same with what the Magic are right now, 7 or 8 seed, and they were gritty. They played hard, and then there was this year. Obviously, Detroit took off. I think the Magic can be that next year. They have that.
I think they're the next team up, 100% there. And then the Miami Heat. I just think they're just that's just a team that's
they're just mid, so mid.
They're one of the most mid teams ever. And then same with the Hawks. They're also very mid. They were even with Trae Young, and now that they don't have him, it's like they've gotten even worse. Not that much worse, but a little bit. Hornets. I say it all the time. You have one guy. That's it. You have one guy doing all the work. You have no stars, really.
I was going to say, let me tell you, though, they've actually been, like, one of the hottest teams in the league.
Oh, yeah, they're playing good now, but, like, they're still 10.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Record.
Yeah, I would
just say their last 10, but they're still bad.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not a good team, but the fact that they actually have other guys stepping up is why they're playing.
They need that, though. They need that consistently. They can't have LaMelo Ball do everything.
Yeah, like Brandon Miller, really good player, but he was never up to the expectations. Con Knepel's been good. Miles Bridges. So, like, they have players. It's just, like, it's always –
they all got to come together.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when LaMelo got drafted, he was the only one doing stuff, and now they're starting to get together a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they were so then, like you just said, 9-1 in their last 10. They're still under 500. Shows how bad they were before that.
Right. That's why I didn't say they were good.
Yeah. They still have work to do. But listen, in the play-in for them is something they haven't even sniffed the play-in a while. So that's an accomplishment.
Yeah. See if they could keep it going.
Yeah,
and then below them is the Chicago Bulls. They fell off a freaking cliff. Oh my!
They traded for like 8 point guards at the trade
deadline. Yeah, they're a mess, complete mess. The Bucks, even though they retained their superstore, Mr. Giannis, sorry JD, they're still bad. That team's just not it anymore. They're not a contender anymore.
No, not
it's like Miami. It's like the Miami Heat, same deal. Like just not a contender anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the Brooklyn Nets are a train wreck. We know that. The Wizards are the New York Jets of the NBA. We know that. And the Pacers are like the 2023 LA Rams of the NBA.
Yeah, championship hangover.
Yeah, championship hangover to the extreme.
Yeah, of just the entire year. Yeah. The Knicks are actually playing them right now. Knicks are only winning by 7. That's terrific. Yeah, but that's it for the NBA standings there. And let's move on to NHL. So if you want to do the chalk moment first, you can do
Yeah,
that because it's connected with hockey, but it's
it
college hockey.
is,
What
and
do we got?
it's the exact same point you had with college baseball. The lack of coverage. We have guys like Gavin McKenna, Porter Matrone at Michigan State. We have these guys playing the most elite level of hockey you're going to see. Like guys like this don't play college hockey regularly. It's becoming more of a thing where top draft prospects go to college before the NHL. They don't go right from juniors. But this is a good year for college hockey. A lot of good players. A lot of good players. Especially, I mean, come on. I know what just happened with McKenna, but again, they got dropped for obvious reasons. That's more
Yeah,
of a
there was more
that's
to
a
the
lesson.
story there.
Yeah, there's way more to the story, and good for Gavin McKenna. If I was a GM, I'd want to draft him now. I would literally be tanking for him right now as we speak. Philadelphia Flyers. There's no hope there. But anyway, yeah, needs more coverage. The Frozen Four gets insane, and so do the regional tournaments. I went to the one when because I'm a Penn State hockey fan.
Mhm.
I went to the Penn State when they play in the Allentown regional last season. It was awesome. It was amazing down in Allentown. Incredible. And then I went to the Penn State outdoor hockey game 2 weeks ago. I mean, just 74,000 people for a college hockey game in
That's
Beaver State.
insane.
Right. Penn State and the Big Ten does hockey really well. Big Ten does well. They a lot, every single year the Big Ten's the best conference in hockey. At Penn State, Michigan State, Michigan's number 1 in the country. Michigan State's number 2. Penn State's in the top 5. Notre Dame's having a down year. They're not very good in hockey this year. But yeah, that conference is just great for hockey. It's like the SEC in baseball, like a no power conference that's that they're good at hockey. Big Ten.
Yeah, all right. So it pretty much, same boat there. It's just like I don't understand it either. And it's weird because if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it like guys can get drafted and then
And
they
then go
go to
back.
college
Right.
anyway?
That's why I just mentioned the one guy, Porter Matrone. He got
Yeah,
drafted
yeah.
by the Flyers, and then he went back to Michigan. He went to Michigan State. He's
But
playing
then when he's
Michigan
done
State
with
right
college, he just goes to the Flyers,
now.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different than because I was gonna say I was just a little confused on that because you can get drafted, you can get drafted out of high school, but if you don't go, you have to get drafted again
Yeah.
after
And then different from baseball, it's called junior hockey. A lot of guys will just play juniors for a year to dominate in the whatever league, the CHL, like any league in the
It's like a
CHL.
minor league, pretty much,
It's
right?
it is, but it's guys 15 to 21.
Okay, all right.
Minor league hockey are NHL
Yeah,
like
like
guys that
but
are
underneath
about
that, I'm saying.
right. Yeah, right. It's below. It's actually, and it's honestly like in professional hockey, you have the NHL, the AHL, and the
Yeah.
ECHL. It's like it's like AAA and AA in
Mhm.
baseball, and then
That's like
below
single
that,
A.
and they're all no. It's actually I'll explain it to you. A little
Alright.
hockey lesson in minor league hockey. So you have the NHL, which is like the MLB. You have the
Yeah.
AHL, which is like the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. That's like
Mhm.
AAA, and then the ECHL, which is AA. Now so NHL teams are only affiliated with those two.
Mhm.
So would technically be single A and low A don't have affiliated teams, which is the SPHL and the FPHL.
Oh, okay.
FPHL is the lowest level of professional hockey. You have a 1 in a million chance playing the NHL out of that league. That league is fantastic, by the way. Everyone hates on it, saying it's a joke. It's still professional hockey. It's just some of those guys are nowhere near like NHL caliber, even AA or AAA caliber. It's just they're taking a chance on themselves basically. But to make one
Mhm.
of those teams is still impressive. Still, it's the lowest level, but it's still professional hockey. People don't realize that. They'll just throw it out the window. But it's like low A baseball. It's low A baseball basically. In baseball terms, it's low A.
Mhm.
And I think juniors actually the talent level. It's younger guys, but I think it falls right below, if not on par with the ECHL. Certain teams, like especially so there's the CHL, it's called. That's like the top junior league. So there's three separate three separate leagues in the league. So there's the CHL, and then in that there's the OHL, which is the Ontario Hockey League. It's a bunch of teams like in Ontario, but like there's a few in America. Erie has a team, like Erie, Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
Flint, Michigan has a team in that league. And then there's the QMJHL, which is the Quebec Minor Junior Hockey League, which is all like
Canadian.
Quebec teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the WHL, which is the Western Hockey League, which is, Vancouver area, like British Columbia, Alberta, and then there's some teams in Washington State too that are in that league.
Hmm.
And that is honestly like Connor McDavid played for the Erie Otters out of the OHL. So
Oh
Like
wow.
that's where a lot of guys play. Like Connor Bedard was in the WHO. He was in Regina Pats, right? I want to say. Hang on, I want to fact check myself
It's
before
like
I
they
say.
get a taste of pro hockey before the NHL.
Yeah,
That's pretty
and
much
that's
what.
where most guys go. But actually, we're seeing a lot. Yeah, the Regina Pats. He played for the Regina Pats. In the yeah, they're in the they're in the OHL, right? They're in Saskatchewan. I forget what league they're in. They're in pretty sure they're the OHL. But anyway, a lot of those guys are now playing college. Like a lot of guys are going back to college. Like we haven't seen this many guys go back to college in some time. Like it's been just guys straight out juniors like Connor Bedard, and then
Hmm.
obviously you mentioned Connor McDavid. Like they all played just juniors and then went right to the NHL. Like we're seeing more guys option in to play college, which is great. It's great for college hockey, you
It
know?
is, yeah. I was gonna say it makes it much more competitive, right? I mean, they're
Yep,
having
exactly.
guys
Right.
like that playing, yeah. And then what you were just saying with like those other leagues, that's kind of similar to like independent leagues of baseball. It's like not affiliates, but it's pro baseball, like same thing what you're saying, but not affiliates of like those other leagues aren't affiliates, but they are, some form of professional hockey, which is good. That gives everyone an opportunity, which is the main thing that everyone looks for, just a chance and see what they can do with that. Maybe if it's a slim chance, see something they can do with that. But let's do our NHL standings first, and then we'll get to a trade that happened last week, and also the Olympics. I want Biggie to talk about the Olympics for hockey, just because that's coming up, and we have no NHL, regular NHL. I should say, no regular hockey for the rest of the month, pretty much until the end. So let's do the standings first. Let's do the Western Conference. Start with the Central Division. Colorado Avalanche 37-9-9. So every single week I say it. I say let's see how long they can go without having double-digit losses, regulation losses, and they still have the streak alive with less than 30 games to go. So let's see how many more games they can win, and it's still very impressive to me. I'm starstruck every time I read it. That the fact they're 83 points. But listen, the Minnesota Wild are right there, so they've done great work. The Avalanche and the Wild are still only 5 points away because the Wild just are on a nice winning streak again, 5 in a row for them. Then we got the Dallas Stars at 34-14-9 with 77 points. They're on a 6-game winning streak. So you
Yeah.
got the Wild and the Dallas Stars. So as good as the Avalanche have played, those two teams are still within striking distance of the
Oh
Avalanche,
yeah.
which
That
obviously
top 3 or 4 of the Central Division is so like competitive. It's amazing.
it is. It is. And like you look at it, you're like, the Avalanche are having a historical season, and they're
Yeah.
still haven't. You would think
They-
they
They're
have.
still in they're still in single digit losses.
That's what I'm saying, Biggie. That's what like, this far into the year. The fact that they've been that good, and you bless you. You would think that they would have a 20-point advantage from second place of how good they've been, which credit to the Wild and the Stars. And then we got the
Yeah.
Utah Mammoth. So this is the drop off that we've been talking about. So
Yeah.
fourth place, 64 points. They got 30, 23, and 4. So they're 13 away from the top three. Then we got the Nashville Predators, 26, 24, and 7 with 59 points. Chicago Blackhawks, 22, 26, and 9 with 53
Gained
points.
some
They've been,
pieces around Bedard, dude. My
yeah,
God.
they do.
You're
They
gonna
do.
waste his
He
career.
too young of a player you got to help this guy out a little bit. He's doing too
Yeah,
much. And
they do.
then Winnipeg Jets, 22, 26, and 8 with 52 points. Like I say every week, Jets have something in common with the other team that is called the Jets,
Yeah,
losing. St. Louis Blues, 20, 28, and 9 with 49 points.
yeah, they're bad. St.
They've been
Louis is in a
atrocious.
hole.
Oof. They've been terrible all year. I don't think they've left last place since we started doing these
I say I
standings.
don't. I think they've been in last the entire season. St.
I
Louis.
Yeah, they have been. Then we got the Pacific Division, and then after that, I'll do the playoff positioning. But we got the Vegas Golden Knights 27, 16, and 14 with 68 points. So they would be in fourth place in the Central Division, which is funny.
Nuts. Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers 28, 22, and 8 with 64 points. So they're in second on a 3-game losing streak, but have still been playing good hockey this year. Seattle
Yeah, I say
Kraken.
they were out of it for like a week or two, and then I mean you can't count
Yeah,
out David. He's arguably the best hockey player of all time, like skill wise.
mhm. He's he's one of a kind. And
Yes.
I think even if they just make it, no matter how they get there, they're probably the most. I know the Avalanche are really, really good, but they can be just as dangerous as them
I
if
say
they get hot at the right time, which anybody can,
if
but
they stay hot, right?
especially Edmonton. Then we got the Kraken 27, 20-9 with 63 points. So they're right there, 1 point from Edmonton. Then Anaheim 30, 23-3 with 63 points. So they're right there as well, tied on a 2-game winning streak. The Kings 23, 19-14, 60 points.
They've been playing better.
They have, and we'll get to it when we get the standings done. But they got a nice shot in the arm as well, so that should help them a little bit, make a little bit of a playoff.
Not a lot.
San Jose Sharks 27-24-4 with 58 points. They're on a 4-game losing streak though. Calgary Flames 23, 27-6 with 52 points, and the Vancouver Canucks 42 points, 18, 33, and 6 on a 3.
Calgary's not in last only because of the fact that Quinn Hughes got traded. I'll tell you, that's the
You're
only
right.
reason
You're right.
last. If Quinn Hughes never got traded, Calgary would still be in last in the Pacific, right?
I mean, they've won Biggie. They've won 2 games since December. I mean, yeah,
they're
January.
so bad for their fan base. They're one of the most passionate in the league, and they've been so close for off and on years for the last 15 years. Oh my god! Yeah. Ever since they lost in what was it 2011 to Boston, they've been on it was bad. Like that year was bad. Their fans almost burned down Vancouver, and they just haven't really been anywhere near since. I mean, or not anywhere near, but like they haven't seen they've been cursed since then. It seems like.
Yeah, I mean, damn, 2 wins since the start of January, and that's historically, that's historically bad. The playoff positioning here, so Avalanche, Wild, and Dallas would be in Vegas, Edmonton, and the Kraken, and then the wild card we got the Mammoth and Anaheim with Kings are
good for the Ducks, man. Good for the Ducks.
Yeah, I remember last
year having a good year. I hate Cutter Gauthier for obvious reasons, but good for them. I mean, he's playing great.
Yeah, last year they were selling guys, trading guys off, and now they're in the playoffs. So that's what we're saying. Turnaround. Yeah, exactly.
It's doing good for us. It's just not everyone else is doing good, so it's not working.
And then we had the Kings just out with 3 points away, Predators 4 points away, and then the Sharks 5 points away. And then the rest of those teams are 10 plus, so they're not really, in range. But what do we got going on in the glorious Eastern Conference, like we like to call it?
Well. Let's go to the Atlantic. Tampa Bay Lightning, man. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have picked it up, and they are the best team in the Atlantic right now.
But they take a year off. They took a year off just to let everyone have a chance to win 2 years off.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's like the Patriots right now. Yeah, they're like literally like the Patriots. That's what we're seeing right now. You know what I mean? Like they're just they came out of nowhere. They started off the year a little shaky, and now they're playing some good hockey. And they're sitting at that number 1 spot. Right behind them is Montreal, who passed out Detroit. Montreal 32-17 and 72 points. Detroit is not far behind though, but they beat out the Red Wings. Red Wings were number 2 and number 1 for until Tampa Bay came in there. They're number 1 pretty much the whole year. Like them in Montreal, we're going back at the beginning, but then Detroit, started playing more consistently. Montreal fell off a little bit. Now Tampa's in there, and Detroit was that steady 2. Montreal beat them out. And they're 6-3-1 in their last 10. They're playing a little bit better. They're playing like they should be because they got a really good team in Montreal. They started the year off really well, and they got a little bit of a skid, and then the Red Wings kind of have been consistently good, but Montreal beat them out. And then this is a shocker, probably to a lot of the hockey community. The Buffalo Sabres are number 4 in the Atlantic. They're ahead of Boston and Toronto and Florida right now. Yeah, they are ahead of the reigning Stanley Cup champions, the Boston Bruins and the Toronto Maple Leafs. What kind of universe are we living in where the Buffalo Sabres are in a wild card spot right now? That hasn't happened since literally them and the Jets have the longest playoff droughts in all.
Yeah, and now the Jets are going to be up there like all alone.
They're going to be the only one. Like I'm telling you, Buffalo is not falling off because I told you this happens. They play good for a little bit and then they fall off. They have not. They are playing great. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. I just wow, good for the Sabres.
Maybe the Olympic. Maybe this is it. Maybe the Olympics. Where they wait till the Olympics, and when the Olympics is over, they'll lose like every game the rest of the year.
We'll see though. Maybe
it's a little delayed this year because they knew the break.
Maybe they'll go back to being the Buffalo Sabres, but for them to be in a wild card spot right now with
pretty good, pretty good,
is incredible. And for them to be ahead of Boston, Toronto, and Florida.
How long has it been for them? Like 12 years since the playoffs or something like that? 10 to 12 years.
I think the same as the Jets, 2010.
Wow, okay. Let me. You know what?
Let me double check.
I was gonna say that you got to look that up now.
I'm really curious. I think it was 2010 was the last time they made the playoffs. Yeah, 2010, 2011 season was the last time that they made the playoffs. And how about this? The last time that they won a playoff series was the 2006, 2007 Eastern Conference semifinals.
Wow.
That was the last time they won a series. 2006. 14 consecutive seasons without a playoff experience, without a
Yeah, so
playoff.
the Jets got them by 1, but they're gonna be gone probably now. And then
Yeah.
The Angels are the next team with 11, and they
Yeah.
probably will continue that.
Yeah, Buffalo might break the streak this year, but we'll see. Maybe the Olympic break hurts them. We'll see. But then right below them is the Boston Bruins, who, I know they got some depth on their roster. They got some good guys like Charlie McAvoy. I don't talk about him enough, and obviously Pasternak. But that's just a team that I think is in the beginning of a rebuild. They're in a position where they need to reset, kind of. You know what I mean? That's the position the Boston Bruins are in right now. They're not the same that Boston Bruins team we saw in 2011 in these past couple of years. It's the end of it, and it's like, there's still some remnants of it, and it's slowly churning its way out.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? This is the beginning of like a slow kind of rebuild. And then Ottawa being ahead of Toronto and Florida. I think it's just they gotten lucky lately. Yeah, 6-3-1 in their last 10. They're not a very good hockey team, except Brady Tkachuk. They're not very good. And I hate to say that because my boy Lottie Giroux's on that team, but they're not very good. But
No.
they're not last. Toronto Maple Leafs. You lose Mitch Marner and you're 27-21, 63 points and 4-5 in your last 10. I mean, they're on a 3-game win streak, but my God, they are not good at all. And they have a good roster still. Mitch Marner, great hockey player. I mean, look at Vegas right now. But it's just, Toronto, you still have Matthews, man. Austin Matthews, one of the best American hockey players ever. Like, seriously.
Mhm.
You still have John Tavares is still a solid hockey player. Max Domi is a decent hockey player too. They're still a good team. I don't know what's going on. And then the Florida Panthers, they've been dealing injuries all year. They're last 29-25, 4-6 in their last 10. I just think that's been injuries this year. That's been their problem. Guys have been out and they've fallen into a hole a little bit. But again, they still have a winning record. The Atlantic's interesting. The Atlantic is where we see the most change, but the Metro is where we see the most competition, if that makes any sense. I feel like the Atlantic, we see such big jumps every week, but the Metro stays so competitive. I don't think the Atlantic's more competitive. I just think there's more disparity so that we see big jumps like, Ottawa going from last to third to last, and the Tampa Bay Lightning at one point being almost last to first now. You know what I mean? And Florida being the reigning Stanley Cup champions and being last right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So let's go to the Metro. Carolina continuing their dominant season. This is what they do. They are 8-0-2 in their last 10. This is what they do. They have a solid, organization. They have the good years, and then they throw in one or two, mediocre type years, and now this is a good one. But will they get far in the playoffs? We'll just have to see. The Pittsburgh Penguins still exceeding expectations, even with all the injuries which they've had. I always mention it. The injuries are happening at that level and at the Wilkes-Barre-Scranton Penguins level in the AHL. That's just been an organization-wide issue this year. And Pittsburgh Penguins, I mean, they have one of the oldest cores in the whole league, and they are playing up to par. They really are. And then the Islanders, shocking everyone, being as good as they are in third, 32-21 with 69 points. Nice. And Braden, Schaefer has just been unreal. My God.
And
what's that?
I was going to say they made a trade for someone, right?
Yes,
from the Devils. Palat?
Yes.
Is it Palat, right?
Let me make sure.
I believe it's him. I believe it's Palat because I know he was terrible for the Devils this year, and he already had like
yes,
or something like that.
Yeah, and they didn't really, they honestly didn't really give up too much for him. Yeah,
Palat. Yeah, I knew it was someone. I was like, I have to say it. I wanted to remember that, and they're playing well, which I don't think anyone expected that, right?
Investing long term. I think they know they're in a position where they can become a good team. The Islanders need that. They haven't had that in a long. They haven't had it since the '80s when they won 4 in a row. Like they really have not had consistent success since
then.
This is the best Islanders team we've seen in some time, in the last couple of years or so.
From what I remember, yeah.
Yeah, and then Columbus has shot up to 4th. How about this, JD?
7-game winning streak.
Columbus Blue Jackets 9-1-0 in their last 10.
Where did that come from?
Don't know, but it's coming. And the Washington Capitals 29-23, 65 points. You know, I just think it's
They're in
not
a
that
weird
year.
spot, right?
They're in an odd spot because they're still pretty talented,
Yeah, it's like
still pretty good. But are they though? But are they?
weird.
Injuries as well. They have a lot of injuries, and Ovechkin's just getting old, man. I hate to say it, but he is. He's obviously the greatest goal scorer of all time. But just is it really there? It's confusing almost. You know what I mean? Is it there? Is it not? Some weeks we see it there, but then some weeks we don't. And then the emotional roller coaster. It is the Philadelphia Flyers. Look, defensively we're terrible. Straight up, just our defense is terrible. We can put up points, but we just can't. I'm just gonna do my how you doing now, if that's okay.
Yeah, just whatever you want. Yeah,
Try to get out of it. You know what I mean? Because I don't really have anything else to talk about besides the Flyers. So
yeah, that's
yeah,
fine.
just our defense is terrible. I don't understand. Um, we beat the Capitals, which again, look at it at like throwing the Capitals. Lost to the Senators in OT, shouldn't happen at all. Just some bad games. 6-3 to Boston, 5-3 to Columbus, 4-0 to the Islanders. Lost to the Kings in overtime. I mean, just it's a bad stretch, and obviously Dan Vladar's injury plays a big factor in that, but he's back now, so the defense needs to stand up. Defense needs to start playing. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know what happened. You know what? Like, I don't understand, and this better be a change that Rick Tocchet makes next season. Take the C off Sean Couturier's jersey right now, please. He is
wow.
so bad right now, JD. I was talking about how good he was at the beginning of the year. He started out the year great. And then we see, oh, wait, he's old. There it is. But it's not even that, okay, he's out of his prime. He's playing bad. He's a fourth liner for us now.
Wow.
Coots is a fourth liner. Like, your captain's on the fourth line.
That's a fall off.
And then you have guys like Travis Konechny who put their heart and soul out for this organization and just are just emotionally drained by how bad this team's been. And he does not have a captain. He's not the captain of this hockey team. He better be next year. He better be the captain next year. If he's not, I'm going to be very mad because he is the true definition of a Philadelphia Flyer. He cares about this team. He cares about the city. He is the most gritty and heartful player I've seen on that team in a long time. Truly. Like he dies for the Flyers, that guy. I feel so bad for him. He deserves so much better from us. He really does. Because he's a great player. He's off and on. Like I always say, he's like, he's good, but he's not like our best guy anymore. But he's the heart of the team. He's really the heart of the team, Travis Konechny. He really is. And then obviously we know Trevor Zegras, how talented he is. Oh my God. And then Michkov's still disappointing this year. Still playing good. I mean, he's still solid, but man, he's just having a disappointing year for how electric his season was last year. And like I said, our defense just sucks. To be honest. And then when you lose Vladar and you have Sam Harrison playing, and then he gets hurt, and you go down to the Lehigh Valley Phantoms goalie, you have Kolozov, who is not ready for the big game yet. He's not ready for the show yet. He's just not ready yet. You could see it when he plays. He's not ready yet. And obviously we have no choice because our starters hurt, and then our second string goalie, who on a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning or a team like Carolina would be in the ECHL probably. But it's just, even when Vladar came back, man, our defense sold against Columbus. Vladar couldn't really keep up because, again, I always say this, and I'm going to bring it up because I brought it up on, as you guys know, I broadcast Bloomsburg's ice hockey games through TJ Productions. That's our only partner for the broadcasting stuff. Any teams that that want broadcasting, have them come to me. We'd love to get more partners, but that's besides the point. I always brought this point up. What's that?
I say get him in the booth.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. But the point I always like to make is, there was a game where they lost 19-2. They lost the Bucknell University's team 19-2. Their club hockey team 19-2. It was 7-0 at the first period. You know what the shots were in that game, JD? Like the final shots?
I don't even want to know. It's probably like.
You ready for this? I'm going to pull it up so I don't get it wrong exactly, because I obviously on my website we do write-ups for every game. So I'm going to pull up the exact stat because you ready for this? Here we go.
Like 60-30, 60-20.
Worse than that. Worse than that. You ready? 107-33.
107 in one game?
Yeah, they had 107 shots, and Bloomsburg had 33. So I always said this: when your defense doesn't do anything for you, it puts all the pressure on your goalie. And when he's taking 100 shots a game, he's not gonna stop every single one. Obviously, 19 of those 107 are gonna go in. Not saying the Flyers are that extreme, but I guarantee if you look at their stats from some of those games, the shots are probably in NHL level terms probably very close.
Mm-hmm.
Our defense can't stop a nosebleed, and it puts all the pressure on our goalie. And like, no matter how good the goalie is, if he's taking that many shots a game, it's a recipe for disaster, no matter how good your offense is. So yeah, that's the situation the Flyers are in. And I feel really bad for Travis Konechny. That's all I got to say. And our defense needs to pick it up. Hopefully the Olympic break helps. And then the New Jersey Devils, they at least we're not the Devils. My God. Well, every year you get your hopes up, and everyone does. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Devils is their year." They've been saying that for the last 5 years, and they have done nothing. They've made some playoff runs, but this is a new low. This is a new low for the New Jersey Devils. This is a new low. And then obviously, even bigger low is the New York Rangers. Their organization's in a dumpster fire right now. They are in the depths of hell right now, JD. They're like, they have crumbled so far. They've fallen so far from grace, like in one season. It's incredible. Like, it's incredibly, it's insane. It's incredible how fast they crumbled.
Yeah, all I was gonna say is, last year we kind of saw the writing on the wall. I think after last year they should have been like, you know what, this team is not that good. Let's do it now instead of letting the season happen, trying to think it was gonna work. And now look what you got.
Well, yeah,
the worst team in the Eastern Conference by almost 10 points.
Yeah, right.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yep. And then we'll have a look one last time. I went on a little rant about the Flyers, but that's okay. Eastern Conference, Tampa Bay is going to have that number 1 seed. So it's Tampa Bay, Montreal, Detroit, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and the Islanders, and then the Sabres and the Bruins. Fascinating to me. The Flyers are pretty far out of it. But behind them's Columbus right now. This is probably all going to change. There's no way Ottawa is going to have a higher shot at getting the playoffs than Toronto and the Flyers or the Panthers. There's no chance that Columbus is even getting in before Florida or Washington. And I don't think Boston's going to make it. I think Buffalo could, though. Calling it right now.
Right in there, man. They got to end the streak.
Break their playoff drought this season. Get ready. Let's go. Let's go Sabres, baby.
Go
Buffalo.
They got to break the streak. Some other NHL news we had. What were we going to say?
At least my main team's not doing good. Just go over to the if the main chick's not doing the work, you gotta go to the side chick. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, the Buffalo Sabres.
Yep. Let's go Buffalo.
Other NHL news we had was Panarin getting traded to the Kings and receiving a contract extension for 2 years. So he was going to be coveted by everyone. So it was kind of more him picking where he wanted to go, pretty much from what I've heard with Rangers people, like Twitter and stuff like that, X, whatever you want to call it. That was the fact that Panarin was kind of wanting to pick because he wanted to sign with the team and help the Rangers get more compensation back as well. So it was like a win-win for both teams. And then the Olympics. So Biggie, anything on the Olympics? You don't have to obviously go on for hours on end, unless you want to. We're here all night. But anything on the Olympics, quick? What your expectations are? What you're feeling for Team USA this year? Because obviously Team USA is the focus for us because look where we're doing the show. But just the Olympics as a whole, because it's starting tomorrow, I believe. But
yes, it is. So our first game of the Olympics tomorrow, I believe, is my God, who is it? I'm sorry. Give me a minute. I want to see so I don't get it wrong. So tomorrow in men's ice hockey, we have at 11:40. We have. I remember looking at it earlier. Just got to find it again. At 11:40 we got Finland and Slovakia, or 10:40. 10:40. I should say. Finland and Slovakia. Finland is always pretty good. They should win that game. Finland is, obviously we had the Four Nations face-off last year. That was Finland.
Finland was in it, right?
US and Sweden. So because of Russia being banned from everything, and Russia and Belarus being banned from everything for non-sport reasons, obviously. Not going to get into that, but So Finland and Slovakia, and then Italy and Sweden. So there's 2 teams right there, Finland and Sweden, that were in the Four Nations face-off. Sweden's not very good. I think, again, that's just if the whole thing with Russia didn't happen, they would be in the Four Nations. It'd be Finland and Russia, not Finland and Sweden. Sweden was the next best, though, with players, because there are some good Swedish players, but Russia's got a bunch of great players. It's just, stuff. France and Switzerland, that's nothing crazy. Canada and the Czechia, that's actually going to be decent. The Czechia's got some decent players as well. That's another one. That's kind of that'd be another one possibly for Four Nations I would see over Sweden, like in that mix. You know what I mean? Like Finland, Sweden, obviously Russia again. I'm going to keep saying it, but this is and then Czechia. That's another team that has some good players, a country that does, and then obviously we know Team Canada. Obviously it's where the sport is from. Incredible. They're insane. Denmark and Germany. Denmark, decent. Latvia and the U.S., though, that is on Thursday. So I went into Thursday a little bit. I'm just looking at the matchup. So U.S. opens up with Latvia. That should be a win. I think it's going to come down to U.S. and Canada again. Like it's going to come down to either one of those two, or even throw Finland in that mix too. I don't think we're going to see a deep run by a country like Latvia or Italy or something. You know what I mean? Or like
Italy.
Or Slovakia or something. You know what I mean? Maybe Slovakia. Slovakia might do some damage. They open up with with Finland, but again, it's just I think we're going to see. We know how it is, U.S. and Canada, and especially after how the Four Nations went last year, there's a big rivalry now. I mean, there always kind of was, but now after the Four Nations, it actually made it relevant. It made the U.S. and Canada hockey rivalry relevant, and I'm a big Team USA guy. And it's funny. I used to be like this too until last year, and I really got into it and all the things that happened with Team Canada and Team US. I'm a big Team USA guy. I'm going to be watching this year. But most American hockey fans are Team Canada fans. That I know, they're Team Canada fans just because it's where the sport's from and all that. And I used to be like that too. I used to root for Team Canada. You know what I mean? But then really got into it, and I'm like, USA hockey is incredible. And especially for how good the Four Nations was and everything that Canada did, and all the stuff that happened. I'm like, yeah, I'm a Team USA fan now. I don't care about Team Canada anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I just like them because some of my favorite players were there, and that's where the sports originated. But now I feel like hockey's becoming a mainstream sport in the US now, so I don't need to. Now I can root for my home country, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, I'm a big Team USA guy now. I'm excited.
All right. Yeah, so that's coming up soon, which should be really, really fun. I believe it's 2 or 3 weeks of, some fun hockey that we're going to get coming our way, especially if Canada and the US can match up like they did last year in the Four Nations, because that was really fun. I know everyone was locked in for that, even the people that don't watch hockey that much. Like,
my God,
I was locked in for that because it was
Four Nations face-off made people hockey fans.
It did. It definitely did.
And when there's no Olympics, I really hope that's what they continue.
They should stick with that. Yeah,
I think they're going to, for how successful it was. Like,
they should.
Like the off years of the Olympics, they should absolutely do that.
They should. That was really, really, really good. Let's go to college basketball quick. We'll just do the top 25 just to have everyone on their toes a little bbit as we approach, middle of February, and then before you know it, March. But we'll do that, and then I'll touch on my how you doing really quickly. It was just really the Jets, because they did every other team along the way, and then we'll do our little pick of Spurs versus Lakers before we move off. But I'll do the first 13 here. Number 1 actually lost last night, so that may change. But as of now, for this week, Arizona Wildcats, 10-1 in the conference, 23-1 overall, but they did lose to Kansas last night. Michigan at number 2, 22-1 overall, 12-1 in the conference. Houston Cougars, 21-2, 9-1 in the conference, always at the top of the rankings every year, just like the next team, number 4, Duke, 21-2, 10-1 in the conference. I've watched a lot of Duke games. I've gotten to watch parts of Duke games this year, and they are really, really good from top to bottom, can play 9 or 10 guys, have the top dogs, if you want to say top players. So they have everything they're looking for, a potential championship team. Iowa State at number 5, 21-2, 8-2 in the conference. One of the best defensive teams this year, which obviously we know defense can get you pretty far when you get to the tournament. And number 6, UConn Huskies, 12-1 in the Big East, which their only loss came to my St. John's Johnnies. The UConn is 22-2 on the year, though. Nebraska, 21-3, 10-3 in the conference. That came out of nowhere. I don't think anyone expected Nebraska Cornhuskers to be in the top 10 coming into the year, but here we are. Then Illinois 20-4, 11-2 in the conference. So Big Ten representing pretty well in the top
Yeah.
8.
Big
So
Ten's
that's good
actually
for them.
pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good for the Big Ten is usually hit or miss. It's usually like really good or not really good. It's never an in between. Then we got Kansas as your number 9 seed, 19-5, I'm sorry, and 9-2 in the conference. Huge win last night without their best player. So they showed some, grit there last night winning that game against Arizona. And then Michigan State, Tom Izzo always has his team pretty good, 20-4 in the year, 10-3 in the conference in the Big Ten as well. Then UNC Tar Heels 19-5, 7-4 in the ACC. Gonzaga 23-2, 11-1 in the conference, always good. Purdue 20-4, 10-3, another Big Ten team as well. So the Big Ten, like I said, is almost half of these teams in the top 13. But who do we got for the rest of the way?
Yeah, so I hope they have the right one up. Yeah, Florida's at 14. They're again just another team that we know could be good. And then Virginia, who I think was down for a little bit in the ACC, and then came back a little bit, which is good.
Coaching changes helped them a lot.
Coaching
They have a new
changes
coach.
helped, yes, absolutely. Texas Tech, again, another team that we've seen some good years out of Texas Tech. I'm not that much into college basketball, but I know I only really watch during March. To be honest with you, St. John's, again, just they're good still. Don't get me wrong, but kind of expected a little bit more out of them. I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think that the way they've turned it on lately has been huge, overcoming because they had 4 losses of non-conference, and then they lost the one in the Big East, which kind of hurt the situation a little bit. And then after that, they lost that one game in the Big East and have not lost since then, beating UConn on Friday. I think this team's only going up, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. But I think they're only going in the right direction. But the record should be a little better. They should have been a better start, but at least they recovered from that and gonna, probably get a top 4, seed when it comes to March if they keep winning, obviously.
Yeah, and then freaking St. Louis. Hello.
Crazy.
Most exciting
8-10
team in
love.
college basketball right now.
Atlantic 10. Look at that.
What do we think? Most exciting team?
I think they're going to be, they have a St. John's transfer, so that's why I've been following them a little bit.
Yeah.
Brady Dunlap, and he's had, he hasn't played as much as maybe I thought he would, but still, they one loss on the year to Stanford by 1 point, so they very easily could be undefeated. And they're in the conference, the A10, which isn't the most competitive, but still, the fact that they're winning these games by the margins they're winning too, so that just shows that they could be dangerous, man. There's always that one team every year that's up there that you're like, how the hell are they in the rankings?
I'm really high on St. Louis. I think that might be the team.
Yeah, that might be it. That might be.
Yeah.
And they can score, man. They can score. Let me tell you that.
They can. And then Vandy, another SEC. There it is. Clemson. Clemson basketball's turned it on lately.
Really good this year. Yeah.
Last couple of years, they've been good. They're one of the not great teams in the ACC, and now they're like pretty good actually. It's good to see. Arkansas basketball right in there. BYU, Miami, Ohio undefeated. It's just their competition level is just not up to par with everyone else. It's the only issue. Louisville and then Kentucky.
I love how the Louisville, Kentucky. 25. That's funny.
I love that.
That's a funny one. They probably, if they played each other, it would probably be like a 1-possession game too, because they seem like they're very, very close in terms of if they actually did play each other. Which they have they? Let me see. I feel like they did. They did actually. Louisville beat them by 8 points earlier in the year, so it was a close game, like I was saying. But that's the top 25 college basketball men's top 25. How you doing? I'll do it quickly here. With the Jets, just that the fact that they're hiring a staff finally. Don't really know many of these guys. Hopefully, they can actually do something. We'll see what happens with them, but I have no expectations. Like I was saying, it just let's get to the season, see what happens. They're probably going to win 4 or less games anyway, and we'll move on to the next one. And that's really it. Yeah, that's really it for how you doing. And then the pick 'em. So I'm at 31-25. Biggie's at 27-29. So he's climbing closer by the week to 500 after a rough start, but he's made up for it tremendously. We both got the Seahawks pick right from last week, so that's why we both got a nice win in the win column. But this week we're going to do, which is actually starting, I think, in about an hour or so, Spurs versus Lakers, which is going to happen soon, like I just said. I'm going to go with the Spurs. Obviously I learned this after I said we should pick this game, that the Lakers have no one playing pretty much.
Yeah, I know.
I know LeBron is out. Luka is also out. And Reeves. Okay, so their top 3 players are out.
Yep.
So that should pretty much dictate who we're going to go with here. But to actually give a breakdown, the Spurs have been good all year, and they're healthy once again, fully healthy. They got 5 or 6 guys that can average double figures in points. This is, what you take this game as. You say, you know what? All right, let's go to work tonight. Let's have a great game. Let's get the stats up a little bit. Maybe some things we're lacking in, and let's beat a Lakers team who, has a good record, but their top 3 players aren't there, and that's literally their entire team.
Take advantage of the opportunity while you're there, because you're already having a fantastic season. Take advantage of that, man.
Yeah, and if you were playing the true Lakers team, you probably would have a little bit more of a contest, but I don't think this one's going to really be that particularly close. I'm going to go with the Spurs. And Biggie, who's your official pick here? So I kind of know what you're doing, but
I'm taking the Spurs. I mean, obviously we know they've been good all year, and then the Lakers not having pretty much their entire team. LeBron and Luka. Obviously that's the team right there. Like we said earlier in our standings, like the Lakers just don't have the gel. There's no gelling there. It's just you have Luka and LeBron. What like seriously, like what else is like really contributing to that? Like at that level, you know what I mean? Because you hear those 2 names and you're like, oh my God, they must be a super team. But like realistically, who else is contributing at that level, right? You know what I mean? At the level of their players, obviously good players there, but at the level of eliteness, as I'll say, of those 2 guys, you know what I mean? So and they're not playing. And you said who else wasn't playing for them?
Austin Reeves, he's been their second best player in terms of points, but he's very good.
There you go. Yeah, give me the San Antonio Spurs. No surprise.
Luka's averaging 33, Reeves is averaging 26, and LeBron 22. So that's like probably 80 points, maybe perhaps a little more, a little less, that they're not having available tonight. Their next best scorer is DeAndre Ayton, who averages 13, and they have him listed as iffy for tonight's game, whatever that means. So he may not play either. So a top 4. Top 4 perhaps also not playing as well. So that's going to do it for episode 97. But any final thoughts on this, this show as a whole? I want to thank everyone for watching, like the usual. Anything we got here before we sign off, Biggie?
No, just happy to get on this weekend. It's a great time. It's always a great time to be alive.
Of course, of course. Any day, right? Any day is.
I was going to say great time in sports, but football just ended, so it's not really.
Yeah. We
got March Madness coming up. We got the MLB. We got the Olympics. So
we got some things coming up, which is good. The Olympics, WBC as well. So it's not like we have nothing. But I totally agree. Football not being here for a little bit for 7 months is going to hurt a little bit. But just want to thank everyone for always coming in, watching us. We're doing better every week. I appreciate the feedback we get, even if it's even if you want to come at us, we
don't care.
Challenge.
We are the reason why we do this, honestly.
All right, guys, that'll do it for episode 97. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.